To start off with, yes, we have been associated with Idea Forge, which has been a very good kind of engagement for us in terms of especially the LiDAR payload solutions that we are providing. Maybe we can start off with the slide deck. Yeah. So basically, as I mentioned, like many of other co-panelists mentioned, today is the age of information. And when I talk about information, is having the first-hand information, not only for kind of development activities, but also for tactical reasons, and it could be for safety reasons, rescue missions, it could be anything. So the idea of joining with Idea Forge was basically in terms of the platforms, the drone platforms. They have already made a niche in the Indian market with some kind of very robust solutions that they are providing. Along with that, this was an add-on that we wanted to have as a LiDAR payload solution, which could complement the other geospatial solutions which other people are building. And it could be for industrial applications, or it could be for defense tactical applications or utility management. It could be anything. So basically anything that needs to be surveyed and mapped, we have a kind of a solution which we have tied up with Idea Forge and trying to bring it into the industry. So basically the combination here was a rugged field proven UAV platform with high accuracy, LiDARs and INSs to deliver reliable mapping in difficult terrain and GNSS-degraded solution zones basically. Emphasis was on more on giving a very accurate data. That was the first point of contention for us. When you talk about any asset today, it is valuable, be it for a kind of an industrial application, or it could be for a commercial application, or it could be as kind of a critical situation like a humanitarian and aid relief as well. As like one of our panelists mentioned, how critical role a first-hand information plays in terms of having a kind of a robust mechanism to take care of the issues in hand, basically. So basically, we're talking about Idea Forge, the platforms. Maybe I need not say much about Idea Forge in terms of the kind of robust drones that they have building over the years, and it has been field proven. Lot of acceptance, lot of good review from any end user that we talk about who are probably using Idea Forge drones today. So here the idea was to have a multi-rotor stability, confined complex environments, rugged design that handles dust, heat, and wind. And when you talk about mapping, it could be various terrain, it could be at the sea level, or it could be at a very higher level, talking about AGLs which can go up to thousands of meters. So that was the idea of having a very good kind of a solution in place which can complement along with the Idea Forge drone here. So what we have here is a high precision LiDAR integrated with a tightly coupled INS for robust trajectory estimation and reduced drift over long runs. Multiple scanner options, range, you're talking about field of view, scan rate to match the corridor, canopy, or open pit use cases. SLAM compatibility for GNSS denied segments, supports the loop closure and hybrid kind of a GNSS LiDAR workflows, which basically complement the other geospatial kind of solutions other people are building. So when we talk about the company itself, Inertial Labs and DILABS, Inertial Labs has been one of the four 20-year-old company which has tremendous industrial experience when you talk about inertial navigational systems, measurement systems, the LiDAR payloads. And here at India, DILABS is a partner to them, wherein we also contributing with the kind of building these kind of solutions, which are more kind of a market, I would say, need with a good reach for any kind of applications that you can talk about. So coming to LiDAR, so basically in a very simple terms, LiDAR, a laser, you have laser shooting it, the laser points, the points are basically geotagged, and using some kind of a software algorithms, everything are put together to create a 3D image, which is basically what we call as a point cloud. So when we talk about our LiDAR payload, we're talking about high accuracy and precisions. We are talking about centimeter level of accuracies, both in the horizontal and the vertical plane, which plays a very critical role, not only in the industry, but as well as in the tactical applications as well. Advantages of our system, I would primarily say the very fast data collection, works in a very low light and no light conditions as well, because it is basically a laser that we are talking about. Talking about penetration in dense vegetations, we are talking about highly versatile air, ground, or marine applications where these particular sensors can be used. So it is basically a sensor fusion, automation, robotics, AI integration. These are the kind of places where we can contribute. or complement, you can say. So basically, LiDAR, when I talk about LiDAR, it is basically anything that needs to be surveyed or mapped. So I'm talking about, it could be a smart city application, it could be power line inspections, it could be corridor mapping, it could be even your forest mapping. So when we talk about precision, as I told you, when you have a very good data, especially in terms of centimeter level accuracy, it actually helps the other aspect of the final result or outcome, what is required by doing that survey mapping. And the best part about our system is it has been made so robust that probably I do a half an hour of scan, I can have the point cloud ready in about 20-25 minutes, which becomes even more field ready application, wherein people have to go for kind of mapping. In the previous cases, they have to come back to their offices, do the data analysis, they find something wrong, do it all over once again. We kind of optimize the entire solution where the data processing at the first level can happen at the site itself. Everything good, pack up and leave, or else you do the flight once again. So that is how we have designed the system to be more user friendly. And in terms of operations, it has to be scalability as well as the usability has to be very precise and simple. That was the idea of having the entire LiDAR payload solution. Yeah, next slide. Yeah. So as I told you, the LiDAR in itself is a very amazing kind of a technology. At the same time, when you talk about flying it on drones, it becomes equally important because of the operational scenarios wherein you have sometimes you don't have the opportunity to fly very high. You might have to fly lower. You might have to fly at some higher speeds or lower speeds. So how exactly this particular kind of a payload works is what we have done with IdeaForge here is two particular payloads that we have. One is basically with a HESI kind of a LiDAR, and the other one is a LiVox. So if you look at the graph, basically, if you're talking about, say, 5 meters per second, if your flight speed, you can expect a point cloud of, say, around 171 points with the LiVox. The same with the HESI, it could be around 600 points. So this is more application driven. As I mentioned, on the field, you really don't know how you have to collect the data. That is where we come into the picture. Along with IdeaForge's robust drone, we come up with a flight plan which is best suited for the data collection so that we have the most precise data available, which can be used by other people to create their geospatial solutions. So that is the idea of having a very good payload on board. Yeah. Next slide, please. So basically, as a most challenging environments is what we are talking about. So it enables 3D in a low light, dust, complex geometry, dense point clouds for engineering grade decisions, then faster, safer remote capture in difficult access areas when you're talking about very hilly terrains, or you're talking about a vast canopy or a forest cover that we are looking at. So the applications are limitless here. It's all about how we integrate and how we do our flight, which IdeaForge is very good at in terms of how to go about doing the flight. Yeah, so basically the solution stack, if you look at it, is this is a combination that we have. That is the UAV from IdeaForge. Then we have our payload, which is show them LAV and LXT, LiDAR plus a tightly coupled INSS. And of course, we have our post-processing software, the PC Master, the Flight Cloud. So what we provide here is a complete end-to-end workflow for the user, basically. So one critical aspect what we found was especially we having a kind of the borders wherein we are talking about the snow-capped mountains, and they are also being a kind of critical areas, not only in perspective of being more a military application, but as well as more in terms of the natural disasters that we come across. So this particular solution has been designed in such a way which can be used for both. Like one of my previous panelists mentioned, it can be used for military applications wherein they go ahead, do a scan, and they're getting centimeter level accuracies, stuff like that. At the same time, it can also be used for HADR applications. So as a disaster management, as a first response disaster management, where you fly these drones and you're getting a kind of accuracy in centimeter level, which actually helps the backend team to plan the rescue missions. So if you look at this particular glacier that we had done mapping, so a flight altitude and the overlap tuned for target density, example, we achieved almost close to around greater than 250 points per meter square at an altitude of about 120 meters. So this kind of a data at centimeter level accuracy helps the response team in a very big way. So using stable corridors, the other stuff, wherever, as I mentioned, talking about survey mapping, we can use this particular solution. So coming to the glacier mapping, yeah, once again, directly georeference LiDAR point clouds, elevation change maps. Then you have the median errors, which are less than 0.1 meter. Then we're talking about glaciers. You're talking about the extract calving, front geometry, the metrics that derive volume changes, time series. So basically, this gives you a more accurate information in terms of whatever the next step that you want to take forward. Next slide, please. So this is probably one of the data sets that you're looking at right now. This was done as a glacier, a complete glacier mapping that was done. Yeah, basically the Himalayan range LiDAR mapping is what we did. So the area of interest here was Tehri, Uttarakhand. So the terrain, what we saw was the steep slopes, river valleys, dense vegetation. We had scattered settlements as well. The coverage was almost close to around 50 square kilometers. So using our LiDAR payload, the flight cloud from our partner, as well as idea, we were able to create a complete 3D mapping of that particular place. Yeah, next slide, please. Wherein you have those. Yeah, these are basically the data you can look at. So the option of the LiDAR, what we have is a simple, straightforward LiDAR, but we also have something called as a camera integration that we do. Basically, we use the camera images to colorize your point cloud to give you a complete kind of a photogrammetry image, which is at the accuracy of a LiDAR, basically. Yeah, so these are basically a few of the mapping that we had done, urban areas, if you're talking about. Then we have the mining as well. Mining is one interesting kind of segment wherein it's all about the assets you're talking about, the pile up, especially when you're talking about raw materials being piled up on the ground. You need to have a very good volumetric analysis, because probably in any one of the directions, 1 or 2 feet kind of a difference makes a huge difference in the final count. So there where this particular LiDAR payload comes into picture. Then, as the other panelist was mentioning regarding the power line inspections, this is very critical, wherein as Mr. Atul was mentioning, that it usually takes a very lot of time consuming and lot of errors which are there. So using our LiDAR payload, we are talking about very good accuracies, which will help them to complement their particular solution as well. So in overall, as I mentioned, today is the age of having the right information in hand to go ahead and complete whatever additional things. It could be industrial, or it could be tactical, or it could be safety, disaster management. So we have a solution, and it gives us immense pleasure and gives us pride that we have joined hands with IdeaForge, who are in the front runner in the drone industry. And we are looking forward to have a lot more engagements with them and looking at covering as many as applications possible. Thank you.